look up VR in the 90s because it existed, but it was rough.
Yeah, Nintendo had that Virtual Boy. First of all, it didn't even attach to your head. You had to lean forward. Everything was red.
Did you ever hear that like someone went blind using the Virtual Boy?
I believe it. I actually believe that rumor. And welcome back to another episode of Starfield with Normal People. My name is Duane, and I am here with my partner, Michael. Michael, how are you today?
You know, I'm good, but I had a weird thought yesterday.
Okay.
You know, first off, doctors say you should not use Q-tips.
That's true.
In your ears.
Yeah, you might stab your brain. Shut up, brain, or I'll stab you with a Q-tip.
But I was thinking the other day, I thought, you know what's even scarier than that? Is what if I have a factory reset button in there?
Well, that would actually be kind of cool. Like, don't like how your personality is, or don't like the way things are going in life. Hit that factory reset button, and it's a whole brand new Michael.
That's true. All right. Yeah, you're right, Duane. I should give that a shot.
You know how the Apple phone, you have to press sometimes like a button on the left and the right? So you need two Q-tips, and you equally stab your brain at the same time, and then...
That'll reset you for sure.
Okay, we are totally joking, by the way. No one do this at home.
Do not.
Don't stab yourself. Like, you can do you can rupture your eardrum with a Q-tip.
For legal reasons.
Yeah. Well, it's always like that thing with health products, or not health products, but like cosmetics. You know, you read the cosmetics, and shampoo is always, you know, one of those 80s stand-up comedian jokes. It's like, why is there instructions on shampoo bottles?
Right.
Do we really need this? But it's funny because on Q-tips, it literally says do not insert into, I think it says inner ear canal, but it may even say ear. Yeah. You know, I think they're not even designed for your ear. They're just, you know, to swab cuts and things like that.
Yeah, it's just for arts and crafts. That's all you got to use it for.
Remember Better Off Dead? Never has a Q-tip been so beautifully, utilized in a movie than in Better Off Dead.
I am unfamiliar.
Oh my goodness. Check that out, kids.
Well, Duane, you wanted to tell our audience that we lied.
We lied so bad.
We lied.
Not really. Like you said.
Not really.
Yeah,
you said. Our opinion.
You're right. Exactly. You said, Duane, we didn't really lie. And I was like, no, I kind of wanted to say that we did say it was a rumor that Starfield was coming to PS, what is it, 16?
PS5.
PS5, yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know, who was the user on Reddit that kind of like instigated this whole rumor mill? Well, along with Phil Spencer, like we said in his tweet, was very mysterious.
Yeah, from my understanding, Xbox was already planning this sort of like business update that they were going to share with people soon-ish, I guess. And then when those rumors were flying around, they sort of pushed up the announcement. It's gonna be fine, people. That's all you need to know. It's gonna be fine.
It'll be fine. And again, like we had someone reach out on our YouTube channel saying, hey, these European regulations, look at what they've done with the Apple Store, and essentially making it so that devices can't really lock down content and have exclusivity. And I saw another great comment that said exclusivity on consoles could be, you know, a thing that doesn't last that much longer, just kind of as a general sense of what's happening in the digital space. So will Starfield be on PS5 next week? Probably not.
No. It might happen someday. If it does, I'm happy for the PlayStation owners. If not, then come on over to PC or Xbox.
Yeah, the PS5 players that we affectionately refer to as the little people. You know, we're happy for you guys. The rest of us, you know, standing up here on our ivory tower, we're cool over here.
Especially the PC players.
I didn't want to say anything, but I was like, my ivory tower is higher than yours for sure.
Yeah, it's higher than mine. Yeah.
Xbox plebeian.
Yeah, I'm down, right down there in the middle, right where I like it, right where I like to be.
Not too high. The air is thin up here. As a tall guy, it's very thin. The higher you go,
I like to be mid. you know? Just like to be mid.
Well, if we've learned anything from our kids, it's that mid is very close to the bottom. It's not actually mid.
Yeah. Yes. You know, and these types of regulations and these changes, you know, obviously, like I think about Apple and how Xbox tried to do xCloud natively through their app through, you know, on the iPhone. And Apple blocked that. They said, nope, you can't have a shop, which is weird because it's not really a shop. You have to already own the games or already have access to the games. But for whatever reason, Microsoft couldn't put it on the app, which is funny because you can just do it through the web.
Right.
You can just go on Safari on your iPhone, log in.
But Apple knows their audience, which is if I can't, you know, if it's not easy and intuitive, I'm probably not going to do it. That is the whole point of an iPhone. Like I'm an iPhone guy, although I use a PC. I was never a Mac person. I tried the Androids. I tried, you know, other phones and stuff. But to me, picking up an iPhone versus picking up like a Google Android, it was completely different. Like it was so much harder to navigate the first time through. Sure, you have a Google phone right now, and you're like, I don't see what you're talking about. But the very first time, way harder, in my opinion.
But yeah, so if these regulations kind of open things up, and maybe it'll be a really good thing, you know. Maybe Xbox, I don't know, maybe they can't be as exclusive. Who knows? But then if that means that they can also get xCloud working natively on their iPhone app, like who knows? Like all those things could be positives. I do think something that's really funny is, so everyone is pretty sure that, so as of this recording, it's February 14th. Of course, it's going to get published a little later. So this will already be old news. But the rumor is that Nintendo on the 15th is going to announce that they're getting Sea of Thieves. So Sea of Thieves could be likely going, it really seems like it's likely going to PlayStation and Nintendo. What I find funny about this is just tragically funny for Ubisoft is that they're about to release Skull and Bones. And one of the, which I don't know, some people are saying it's fun because there's a beta out. I don't know, their development was a mess. But one thing that they had going for them was Sea of Thieves was an Xbox exclusive, and they were going to be on all platforms. So if Xbox comes out and just releases Sea of Thieves on all platforms right before Skull and Bones comes out, it's just kind of funny to me. It's just kind of hilarious timing.
It's another, rough thing happening to Ubisoft, who apparently the VR Assassin's Creed was a spectacular failure. Now, I've heard it's actually a fun game,
right?
But sales-wise, it just didn't resonate. You know, we're not quite there for, you know, making big sales on VR yet. We're getting close. I mean, both of my kids love VR. Like, the first thing when they get home from school, they are on the Oculus. They absolutely love it. And actually...
Okay, so it does get used in your house. Okay.
It gets used a lot. We're talking, you know, as much as I would let them and as long as the battery would last, they would be in there. They love Gorilla Tag. Like, it's just so much fun for them. But they're not quite the age group. I guess my son would be the age group for Assassin's Creed, but he still loves Gorilla Tag. And he likes the fact that he's getting exercise doing it because he's into physical fitness too. So I bet Assassin's Creed actually has elements of that too, I would think.
It's interesting because so we also have the Quest 2, and my son loves Super Hot. Actually, I love Super Hot.
I love Super Hot.
Super fun. Yeah. That's an amazing, I already love the game on just Xbox, and in VR it's incredible. But we don't use the Oculus that much. And it's one of those things where I find it really incredible, but it's so much easier to come home from work, sit down and pick up a controller or sit at your desk and be at the mouse and keyboard than it is to, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's not that hard, but it's just I don't have that habit of putting on the headset.
My front room is permanently rearranged so that my son can have an adequate playing space. And we're having this battle of like, you got to move the couch back, man. Because every time I come in my living room, like all the couches are moved out and like blocking the hallways. And
Right.
I'm like, come on, man. And all the legs on the couches are now like, loose because he's been dragging them across the carpet to get them out of the way.
I think that's it then. It's like having a dedicated space.
Mm-hmm.
Your computer, your Xbox, that's all in a dedicated space. It's ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I can see why your kids use the Oculus that much more, is because it's sort of ready. It's easier. Yeah, most people though, if they bought the MetaQuest, I don't know. I think a lot of people tried it and they were like, this is cool. And then they don't have a dedicated space. So it goes somewhere to get put away. And then it's not going to come out all the time. So yeah, Assassin's Creed, like I love Assassin's Creed. Like I've played almost all of them. I didn't play the most recent one because I was getting a little bit burnt out. And then, yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it's not that I'm not interested in Assassin's Creed VR, I just don't think about it. So yeah, I'm not really surprised.
Dishonored 2 ruined Assassin's Creed for me because I played Assassin's Creed, whatever, one of the newer ones after playing Dishonored, and I wanted it to be Dishonored.
Right.
The gameplay, the stealth factor, like I just really liked everything about Dishonored 2. And then when I tried to translate that into Assassin's Creed, which they're kind of similar in terms of tone and style and kind of being this weird, semi-historical. I guess some of them are historical, but it's like an alternate timeline action game.
Yeah.
I saw you on Sunday. You came over for the Super Bowl, and one of our friends, Eric, actually the same Eric that was on our pod, he brought over the Apple Vision Pro. I got to try it, and there's like a dinosaur demo that I did, and it was spectacular. I was blown away by the fidelity, by how they augment reality. And they place the screen,
it's very impressive,
within the space. So you're seeing through the goggles, you're seeing your normal space, and then you're seeing this augmented reality within the space, and it is spectacular. Now, will I go out and spend $6,000? Is that how much?
35 plus. Well, it's like 35 for the cheapest one. I think
he said
3,500.
He said the one that he had there was like 6,500. I don't know what the difference was. Maybe it was like battery packs and other things, but
all the extras.
I mean, it's a cool piece of tech, though. I was impressed.
It's very impressive. I've seen that demo play out. I didn't wear it, but I was there in the room and we had it streaming to a TV. And my friend puts his finger out and a butterfly lands on his finger and he can twist his finger and it sort of stays there a moment and then flies off. And then I saw where the dinosaur, which is not a T-Rex, but like a small T-Rex-like dinosaur.
Wait. You're the dinosaur guy. You don't know the actual...
I don't know which one this was. Yeah, I know.
You're disappointing me big time.
I saw how when it approaches the screen, then it like comes out. It comes out of the screen.
They do that clever trick, and we've seen those images that have the 3 lines that trick your eye, where it has like the image is bisected by 2 lines, and it feels 3-dimensional because your brain doesn't know how to process it. It does that very well in the Vision Pro with the dinosaur coming beyond the screen and coming right up to you. Like I definitely had the fight or flight thing kick in. Right away, and I reached out to try to interact. It was very cool.
I mean, if I can relate this to Starfield at all, it's that I look back at how Bethesda did eventually make Skyrim VR, and oh man, if someday there is a Starfield VR, I don't know if I would do anything else with my life.
It would be stunning. It would be absolutely amazing to be able to be on a planet and explore in that. I mean, if I could relate it to that demo that I saw, like Starfield as that dinosaur demo, you're right. I wouldn't leave the room for a long time.
Well, and in the Vision Pro, like I was talking to another gentleman who got one who he was like an older gentleman, and he said, I've always wanted to be on the moon, and I'll never be able to, I'll never be able to travel to the moon, but with the Vision Pro, they have this demo where you can go to the surface of the moon and just be there and look around and see the Earth from afar. And he was just talking about it like almost not emotionally, but you could tell that he was like, this feels like a big moment, even though it's virtual. It just felt very real to him. And it's funny because the whole time I'm just thinking about Starfield. I'm like, yeah, you can explore space in Starfield, but and just VR is just incredible for being able to give us these experiences.
Agreed. And I think, one thing is, how do you move around with like the Oculus? Well, Gorilla Tag, you have no legs and you're using your arms because that's what's connected to the sensors. With Apple Vision Pro, you could be sitting on the couch. I think you could still have interactive control pad in your hand, maybe, but it would still feel very 3D and immersive without having to figure out and solve for moving around within the world. It would just be like gaming in the virtual world in a weird way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I see all these VR games that like I understand you want it to be really, really interactive. So you have these very special motions that you do with the controllers. And I don't know if this is exactly what you're saying, but I have thought this for a long time where I said, I don't need all that. Just let me use the controller like normal, but let me just look around with the headset. Like, let me just be immersed that way.
Right.
I would be happy with that. I don't need to have one-to-one movement with the sword action. And don't get me wrong, yes, that is cooler. But if that's the reason these games aren't getting made is because they're saying, no, it would be too difficult to implement that, then don't do that. Just give me the ability to look around in VR.
Are we 5 years away from a company, like Nintendo, when they came out in 1985 with the NES, they revolutionized home video game, much like Atari had done 10 years prior. Are we on the cusp of a VR headset doing just that? Are we 5 years away from what we just described? Because that would be the next step in video game evolution, really.
What's so fascinating is it's really tough to tell because VR, it just keeps coming back and it doesn't hit for the general public. But we get closer every time. Oh man, people, like, I don't know how old you are if you're listening, but look up VR in the 90s because it existed, but it was rough.
Yeah, Nintendo had that Vector.
Oh, the Virtual Boy.
Virtual Boy. And it was awful. First of all, it didn't even attach to your head. It was on a stand. You had to lean forward. You put it on a table
and you had to lean forward.
Talk about headache inducing. Everything was red. It's like, hey, let's pick a color to render everything in. Red? Sure. Great idea. No, couldn't have been blue or like a nice soft green. Let's go with angry red on black. And it's like your eyes were screaming out in agony, trying to play Star Fox in this like vector graphics world. It was bad.
This has to be an urban legend, but did you ever hear that like someone went blind using the Virtual Boy? I don't know if it's true or not.
They got warts on their palm from using it.
Yeah.
I believe it. I actually believe that rumor because, 5 minutes into it, because they always had a demo at Toys R Us. Yeah. And we went down there and we tried the new Nintendo Virtual Boy.
The Virtual Boy.
And we're like, we're never buying this piece of shit.
Oh, man. It's so funny. And like virtual reality outside of Nintendo, you would get in and like one of the things that they stress today is like making sure that it's always at least 60 frames so that you don't get motion sickness. I don't think they had that back then. I think
No.
it was like between 20 to 30 frames, and everything was like flat panels. It was like the movie Lawnmower Man. It was just like just this abstract hellscape
Yeah.
of virtual reality.
Dude, it was choppier than
yeah.
Ubisoft's launch of Skull and Bones.
Oh man.
Lawnmower Man. Oh, that was a movie that I saw in the theater, and I was like, whoa, it's so cool, this virtual reality world. 5 years later, I was like, these are the worst graphics I've ever seen in a movie. And like 20 years later, it's like, this is laughable.
But what's interesting is like VR is something that I think like early 90s, we had this, really random like movie channel for, like independent movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing, it wasn't bad or anything, but it was definitely like a cartoon for adults. And no, it wasn't an adult cartoon in that way that people are thinking, but it just was like, it was very interesting because it was pre-Matrix, but it was about these people that would like put on these VR headsets, and you would meet other people and fall in love, and it was very bizarre. Like one guy, like he portrayed himself as a shark and he swam around, and like that's how he portrayed himself. And then there's other woman, she was like this beautiful supermodel, and they meet and they fall in love. And then the idea was that they were, in their real life, things weren't great, and like they were unhappy with their actual life. Very Ready Player One
Mm-hmm.
type story where you go into VR to be a new person.
Mm-hmm.
What's fascinating to me is that this random short film that I saw so long ago, it's starting to become real, where people can go in and portray themselves a certain way. They have an avatar, and they can talk to people. I've never done this, but I know that the MetaQuest has like, VR chat.
Apparently it's dead because it's all like my kids.
Yeah.
The target, their implied demographic was older, but their actual demographic is very young because
Yeah.
it's a much more savvy mind. My 8-year-old's mind has grown up on an iPad, for better or worse. They understand information parsed in that manner so much better than the older generation.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting is it's my youngest that's just like comfortable with new tech. Oh yeah, headset.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna learn it as I go, and you're not gonna get that with the older crowd.
Well, you mentioned earlier, why isn't the general audience picking up VR headsets? I'm going to pitch you how to rebrand Meta. Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm so excited.
First of all, change that horrible name, MetaQuest 2, MetaQuest 3.
It's so
What
dumb.
does that mean? Like we were talking about, what was it, Xbox 360, like these naming conventions.
Yeah, Xbox, terrible naming conventions, yeah.
So MetaQuest, like first of all, you hear the word meta, you think of Mark Zuckerberg, the most uncoolest dork this side of
He's just
like like the guy from Back to the Future. What was his name?
Oh,
Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover's character.
Yeah, I love Crispin Glover.
Marty's dad.
Yeah, I love him in real life. He's such a cool artist. But anyway, his portrayal of Marty's dad was great. But you think of Meta, you think of Mark Zuckerberg, you think dork. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what you do. You paint the MetaQuest 3 black. You rename it to some awesome name, right? I don't know. I'm not a marketing guy. Figure it out, okay? A cool name. It's simple. It's like one word. And then you sell it for pretty much the same price. It's like $400.
I would name it like the Portal or something.
There you go. The Portal. I like it.
I would buy a VR headset named the Portal.
Yeah, the cake is a lie. So for sure, I would name it that. But anyway, I think you could get a bigger audience, and then you need a title that adults will flock to. For our parents, it was Pong. People were
Right.
buying entire consoles just to play Pong. Like if before
Yeah.
Atari existed, you could go to Sears and you could buy whatever it was called, and it only had one function, and that was to play 6 different versions of Pong. So you have that killer app, rebrand it, and you disassociate with Facebook. Definitely hit the masses with that product, I think.
So, like most people, especially my age, I have a Facebook account. I don't go there very often. I actually remove the app from my phone. So, I only know what's happening on Facebook if I actually go to the website in a browser. But yeah, when I heard that like the Meta Quest or whatever would require a Facebook account, like instant turnoff for me. I'm just like,
Mhm.
ugh, no, gross. I don't want that.
Can companies stop doing that with like use your Facebook to sign into this and cross promotional branding with their other stuff? Yeah, I'm with you. I don't want to do that.
I eventually bit the bullet and got one because they had that before the Oculus was going to be rebranded as Meta. They dropped it like by $100, and so I was like, yeah, I'll pick one up. But I was very happy when they changed it finally to where you don't have to have a Facebook sign in, and at least they realized how much people don't want that.
Especially people, under 40. Like people that use Facebook are, you know, between 35 and 75 mostly.
Yeah,
I would even say 40,
yeah.
45 and 75 primarily, probably.
I think one thing that blew my mind was, and this isn't even new, this was like between 5 and 10 years ago, was when I first heard that young people don't even have Facebook accounts. A lot of them, they're not even signing up for Facebook. So that was like pretty shocking to me because I don't use it much now, but you remember there was a time where we used Facebook for everything. So
Hmm.
the idea of not having a Facebook account was like not having an email. It was like, what? How do you
Right.
do things? How do you sign up for things? How do you know what's happening with your family? And I'm glad that like I'll go to Facebook now and it's just people sharing links. Like,
Hmm.
I want to see what's happening with you. Show me photos of like your birthday party.
That's my biggest gripe with Facebook
It's
is
just the
that,
sharing of the links, right?
yeah, it's just, well, I don't go here to find out what, you saw on TikTok. I already have
Yep.
TikTok. I want to hear about you. I want to hear exactly what you just said. Like, I want to see your pictures and your experience.
You want to know what's really funny is we used to make fun so much. We used to make fun of people that would take pictures of their meals, right? They'd go out to a restaurant, they'd take a picture of their meal and then share it. And
Hmm.
now I'm like, I miss that. That was way better. That time period was way better. Like people just checking in.
Hmm.
I'm at this place. I'm at this fun location. Here's a picture of my meal. I would much rather go back to that than people sharing an article about, why you shouldn't trust doctors. Like,
Look at this photograph.
so Duane, so Starfield.
Oh, yeah, yeah. This is a Starfield podcast, right? Well, look, here's why we get off topic. I feel like Starfield is in a little bit of a lull. You and I love the game.
Yep,
However, kind of the new has worn off of the game. The game
yep,
came out.
yep.
It had a big high. It had some big lows because there's backlash, and then there was a core audience that it found and maintains. But at this point, it's like just the dedicated players are really
Yeah,
playing Starfield, right? Kind of like I still play it.
yep.
I played a couple days ago.
And the thing is, like, I'm still playing a ton. It's definitely, uh, the game came out a while ago, and
Hmm.
it's a single player game. That's what's funny when I see people say, "Oh, the player count dropped by this much," and it's like, yeah, it's a single player game. Most people played it, enjoyed it, and moved on.
Hmm.
And like you said, we have our hardcore dedicated group, especially like in our Discord. We have a lot of people that are playing it still a lot. And I also find myself, I'm like, I've played a lot of Starfield and I kind of like push myself. I'm like, you should maybe play another game. And most nights, like if I don't have time to learn a new game, I'm so much more comfortable just dropping into Starfield again and
Absolutely.
exploring a new planet. I want to start building, like, I think I'm about to get into hardcore outpost building. So we still have people that are playing the game a lot, but it's totally normal for the game to hit this lull because it's been out a while. There's no DLC yet, and we don't have the official mod support. We don't have the creation kit or the creation club. But I would refer to this as the quiet before the storm, because things are sort of like low key at the moment. There is a positive about that, by the way. I do think some of the people that are very negative on the game are finally moving on.
I've seen a lot
There's
less
other games.
S posting, if you will.
Yeah.
I think you said something key though. I mean, it's a single player game. I see the same things where, oh my gosh, look at the player count has dropped off. Who cares, right? Like, and you
Who
you said
cares?
it perfectly too. You said I don't want to. There's a lot of cool games I want to play, but I just got home from a long day at work. I want to pop in something I know how to play, and Starfield's great because you can jump in and you can do 50 different things that are fun
Yeah.
for 5 minutes or for 5 hours. Like I find in between, I've got like 20 minutes. Sometimes I'll open it up and I'll just go to a POI and I'll level up, boxing or something like that. I'll find some skill that I want to level up and
Yeah.
work on that for 20 minutes, and then it's time to make dinner or something like that. So I gotta turn it off.
One of the most shocking things for me personally was that when I watched the preview and the direct before the game came out, I saw outpost building, and I remember just my eyes like going big, and I was like, I'm gonna do so much of that. And I haven't done that much. And so to me, it's not because outpost building is uninteresting to me. It's that there were so many other things that were fun, and I'm kind of excited because I am getting to that point where I'm like, yeah, I should start basically my empire.
Well, isn't it
Like,
great that even after hundreds of hours that you put into this game, there's still a frontier of gameplay that you have not even touched. And I'm the same way. I
yeah,
haven't touched shipbuilding, which I'm really excited about, and I haven't touched outposts. I mean, I'm still just experiencing story and, I guess, first person shooter aspects of the game and exploring, kind of those
yeah.
three things.
It's just going to be so interesting when these, like, the DLC and stuff comes out. I have a prediction. Let me see if you agree with me. I feel like the creation, well, maybe they've even said this. I feel like the creation kit and the creation club are going to come out before the Shattered Space DLC. Would you
Yeah,
agree with that?
I would agree with that. Any interest from modders that they can help, propel the game before they launch the DLC, I think would be a good thing. And I think, modders and players are ready, for third party content. So why not?
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
prediction with third party content, which is at some point, there's going to be a spectacular mod that will fundamentally change the game and bring a new audience to it in some way. I remember
Ah, yes.
Battlefield had a Star Wars mod. This was before, what was the
Like
Star Wars?
Battlefront?
Battlefront. This was before Battlefront
Yeah.
existed. And maybe one of the reasons why it existed was there was an entire mod for Battlefield 1942 or whatever it was
Yeah.
that changed it into a Star Wars game, and it was a blast. So there may be something with Starfield because again, it's a Lego base plate and it's a box of Lego
Yeah.
that you could make a lot of different things with. So and there's already some great mods out there, don't get me wrong, but there might be something like a Gary's mod type of mod that becomes a freestanding thing that's built on this base plate.
Yeah, modders have already done a great job with a game that doesn't have official support yet. The official support is coming, so it's going to be very cool to see what they do. If anyone can do something like with the POIs, like I have no problem with the POIs as of now, and actually I have something to say about that. But I'll just say first that most people do have a problem with it. They're like, "Oh, I'm sick of seeing the same POIs." Modders are going to come along and they're going to revamp that, and they're going to put in, I am sure, so much variety. I think what's interesting is the POIs as they are now. Each POI is pretty big. It's a pretty big level. Like the ones like Cryolab, it's a big level to explore. What I think would be cool is many, many more smaller POIs, like those scattered across the landscape, and just never knowing if you're going to find a big POI or a small POI. That to me is very interesting.
I think a lot of us have seen the moon landing spot, right, in the rover. That's a great example of a tiny POI. You could have stuff like that where modders create, these little treasure chests of POIs that exist out on planets.
Yeah, I do appreciate that Starfield does currently have little, like little stations that are like they're unmarked POIs.
Right.
But usually they have like a box. So, it might have some credits or some materials or something. It's nothing like super exciting, but I would love to have a little bit more RNG where there might be a slight chance that you find like a legendary weapon or something. Like that would be cool. If even if it's the tiniest chance, like people would be checking every single one they pass by.
There was a story element that you go and you find a small POI, and it was one of the more interesting things that I visited because I was compelled to go there because of story, for one, and then I was finding story elements within the point of interest. So, and it was tiny. It was like a one-room, farm outpost type deal.
I think that they're going to do great with that. I want to just say I had a thought the other day about the POI argument, about the complaint. I was reminded of the game The Division. So The Division is it's a looter shooter. It's based on like a disease wiped out most people on Earth, but so
okay,
now
good. I thought you were going to say it was a math game. Bad joke. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's the sequel, multiplication. So the Division is like, it's a Tom Clancy game, so it's a lot of like guns and firefights and that kind of thing. But like it's an RPG, so you have guns and stuff, but they have like these little boosts. But anyway, I'm remembering how in the Division you would have a story and it would have like, I don't know, let's say 20 major locations in the game. Once you've beat the story, you can keep playing forever. I played that game so much, and you would just go and redo these locations over and over again.
You were going back because the gameplay was great.
So yes, the gameplay was great and it was fun. Also, because it was a looter shooter, you always had the chance to get better loot or better loot that fits a build that you're working on. So I could be like, oh, I'm working on a sniper build. And I would replay these same locations over and over and over. And that's how the game is played. And no one has a problem with this. I never saw anyone complaining about, oh, I'm going to the Air and Space Museum again.
Right.
I'm so sick of it. And I think that people need to reframe their thinking on how they look at the POIs in Starfield.
If I can interject, that made me think of like a thing that Starfield could do, a thing that Bethesda could do is to just introduce 5 new weapons. That would bring a lot of players who maybe are taking a break from Starfield back because, hey, now there's a plasma gun that does different things in the game.
Or a flamethrower.
Flamethrower and any number of weird futuristic space weapons.
Isn't there, I forgot about this, but I'm pretty sure there's a turret in Starfield that's a flamethrower.
Is there?
Unless it was a mod, I saw an image where someone had a flamethrower turret.
It's probably a mod, because I know there are fauna that can flamethrow. So someone probably took that element and modded it to add it to the turret. I don't know. You and I both have so little outpost experience that we don't know what the unlockables are on an outpost build.
Yeah. No, I think you might be right though. I think it is a mod, but
Yeah.
it's clearly possible.
Was it Fallout 3? I don't know if it was an expansion, but there was alien presence and there was a whole like storyline. You get
Oh,
abducted.
Mothership Zeta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that was Fallout 3.
they introduced the futuristic weapons, and they were so fun because it would turn your enemies to a pile of dust. You could still loot
Yeah.
like full-size guns and stuff
Yeah.
out of a pile of dust. But I love that weapon. It was super powerful too. Like they had a rifle and they had pistols.
I agree. I think that would breathe some life into these POIs. Like maybe it's because I played the Division so much that the one comment I've seen so many times is, like I said, they say, "Oh, I'm so sick of seeing Cryolab," and that's just not how I think of it. Like I think of it as I'll see Cryolab and I'll go, "Oh, cool! Like I know this location. Let me go get some kills and some loot." Like I don't know. That's just maybe it's because of the types of games I've played in the past. This type of thing doesn't bother me.
Maybe I'm just not paying attention, but I feel like I've only run into the same POI a couple of times. I've done the Cryo Lab
Right.
because it was the first one I ever explored, so that one stands out to me. And so when I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is this again. It's very distinct. By the way, did you see the Cryo Lab that's in a lava pit?
Oh no! Wait,
I don't know
that
where I
sounds
saw
familiar.
that.
Maybe
I think it was
saw
in our
the image.
Discord, but
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, it's like literally a lake of lava, and then the Cryo Lab was like on the edge of it. It looked really cool.
That's exactly where you want a cryo lab, by the way. Like just so you can go in and cool down.
Hey, I think if you're Bethesda and you have these existing Rolodex of POIs already, and you want players to have a new experience in these same places without having to create all new ones, script interactive events, with new monsters or with new things that happen
Right.
in those same events. Is that possible? Because that would be cool.
Oh,
Like I do
yeah.
recall the first time I explored that cryo lab, and I think it was a heat leech jumped out, and I was like, oh, this
Yeah.
had a little bit of alien vibe to it. It scared me and was exciting, and I was looking for more things that might jump out. So there could be some other, scripted thing that makes an existing POI fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you could program different encounters, different enemies, it would be interesting to go there and maybe it's overrun with those horrible, terrifying gliders.
There you go.
Aliens,
Yeah. That made me think of Gary, the Gary Vault, the legendary
Yeah.
vault from Fallout 3, right? Well, what if you have one scientist in there who clones himself? It could be stuff like that, like unexpected
Yeah.
enemies who all went crazy. And, the vaults
Yep.
were brilliant because the vaults some of them were the same design, right? I think throughout the different games, a lot of them had similar
Layouts.
Thank you.
Yeah, probably.
But you didn't mind because there was cool stories or cool enemies. Well, if you are experiencing kind of a little bit of a vacation from Starfield, that's understandable. You're not alone. With the Creation Club coming out, that's going to be exciting, and also future DLC. So I think Bethesda is going to continue to surprise us with content.
I think it's very exciting because despite this kind of quiet before the storm, this is a game that's definitely going to be a long-term game. They have big plans for it. I'm sure there's going to be big pieces of DLC. And honestly, if you are a Starfield fan and you want to breathe some life into it, I'm not joking. You got to check out our Discord if you're not there already, because it is full of people like playing and sharing things, and we're doing like shipbuilding challenges. You can show off your outpost. There's so much going on in the Discord in terms of Starfield. We have a lot of people in there that say, I stopped playing, but I'm still here. Like I'm still here seeing what people are doing, and they like to listen to the podcast. And honestly, I think that there's people that might have stopped playing, except for the fact that they've got all these other friends in the Discord that are kind of showing them new ways to play.
Absolutely. Hey, I have a big question for you.
Yeah.
What's going on with the Xenogrub?
I have so many questions about Xenogrub
Mm-hmm.
because you'll find it everywhere. It's on like all these different planets, and not only that, but you can't scan it like other animals on different planets. So it's like, where is it native? Like, I don't want to give anything away, but even the Terramorph has a native planet. That if you go to that planet, you can scan the Terramorph. So the Xenogrub, like, it just appears everywhere. I mean,
Wait, that's different than the Xeno egg thing that I'm finding, right? Because I'm finding like the
like alien egg.
alien egg, yes.
Yeah. So alien egg, I think, is just like general, like it could be anything. But I don't know.
Could be
like,
breakfast, you know what I mean?
It could be a big old omelet. If anyone has found a planet with scannable xenogrubs, I would love to know about it, because to me, the xenogrub could either just be a small nothing, just a detail, or it could be a seed of a great mystery.
Right? Well, a grub implies an insect in its infancy, does it not?
Yeah, generally.
So where are mommy and daddy Xeno things?
Right, and so are these grubs supposedly different grubs that will grow into different aliens? Because they all look the same. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
I think they're
but I don't trust them. I kill them every chance I get.
I think they're from Planet Grubhub.
This podcast is
Sponsored by Grubhub. Order now.
Put in a code Xeno for 0% off.
Alien egg breakfast burrito.
Yeah, I'm down. I'll try anything once.
Well, all this talk of breakfast make me hungry, and if you're hungry for some cool YouTube videos, check out Tau Security, who is a member of our Discord. Check out their YouTube channel. It is pretty cool. You can go into our community channel. What's it called? Community content?
Yeah, it's our community content.
And you'll find a whole series of what Tao is calling Starfield Essentials, whole series of videos. And like some of the titles are like, is the refurbished goods mission broken? Another one is entitled, Do Cargo Ships Deliver to Outposts While I Dream of Electric Sheep? So if you're looking for other Starfield content, definitely check out Richard's videos.
These are great videos. They're deep dives into some of the mechanics of the game that I find very helpful.
Agreed. Hey, Michael, who is your companion right now?
Oh, my companion?
Yeah.
Well, I have several companions, actually. Our companions are on Patreon that I want to give a special thanks to, which are Space Cadet, Rampage American X, Cherry Bomb RN, Griffin, Ben Price, and Zegra Rocks. Huge thanks to these companions for just keeping the machine running.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for being a part of our Patreon. We also have other Patreon supporters too. We want to thank them as well. So if you're interested in joining our Patreon, check out the show notes.
Yes, we have a bunch of benefits there, like ad-free content, bonus episodes, and even stickers and t-shirts.
Michael, I listen to our own podcast just to kind of quality control after we post it. And for the first time, I was getting ads because I have not signed up for our Patreon yet. And I was like, I was thinking like, oh my gosh, this is well worth $1 a month to not have to listen to ads. I can't stand ads. I don't know.
Ads are the unfortunate necessity of the business. And for $1 a month, you can exercise them from your Starfield with normal people life.
I have exorcised a demon.
That's right. You can do that too. But thank you to everyone that listens on Spotify, Apple, and thank you to those watching on YouTube. All of our links that we talk about are provided in the show notes below.
Extra special thanks for comments and feedback. If you have a comment, suggestion, or an in-game story to share, you can leave a comment on our YouTube page. You can also come into our Discord, right? Yeah, leave a comment there. Why not?
Yes,
We have
please.
a podcast discussion channel.
I love that. Like the podcast comes out and people go there and talk about it, and we are right there talking about it with you as well. And if you like the show, please consider dropping a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. That would really help us out.
Thanks for traveling the Starfield with us. Make sure you subscribe because guess what? We'll be back next week for more.
We'll see you then.